That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
Well, I would speak for everybody and say that was really boring. Pat, really boring. Welcome, everybody, to the second State of the Crew Address. We will be starting it off with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, everybody stand up, please. We're pledging to cut out of George. I pledge allegiance to the crew of Brown Pig Productions and to the goal for which it stands, one posse under your mom, indivisible, with pathos and friendship strong. Thank you. You guys can be seated. Four scores and 7 years ago, the Atlanta Falcons held a 28-3 lead over Tom Brady and the New England Patriots at halftime. The food was good, the beer was flowing. The year was 2017 and life was good in America. We still thought that Donald Trump being president might be kind of funny. We were still making dicks out for Harambe jokes, rest in peace. But Tom Brady had other plans. 4 scores later, America and the Atlanta Falcons alike were forced into overtime, deadlocked and blue-balled against the desire to see Tom Brady lose another Super Bowl. One rigged coin flip later, the comeback was complete. Tom Brady won his 5th Super Bowl ring in the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. It was the comeback nobody asked for. It was the comeback nobody wanted. And it was the comeback that nobody deserved. It is under similar circumstances of an unwanted, undeserved, and unasked for comeback that we gather here tonight for the second ever State of the Crew address. Please clap. This event was created by self-centered assholes to remind everyone how much we love to talk about ourselves. I'm the host for tonight, Dax, aka Sunny D, aka the one true curb jumper, aka the original Big D construction, aka everybody's favorite friend, aka the main character, or as I like to say, the nucleus. In fact, I have Pat on record saying, Dakota, you are the nucleus of the crew, and I was as nucleus-y as you are. Pat also told me. Say that. No, Pat also told me that if he refutes that, it's just him saving face, and it's really a cry for help.
We want Velociraptor back.
But I digress. Our program today will begin with a musical number from Kevin Ingerson. Following that, we will be graced with a speech from our very own George Williams on the subject of math. I don't know. Like it says math, like with the question mark and everything. So I don't know. Following George, we will have Zach with what I've been told is a rant. I must say, if it is about soup or heat pumps again, everyone will be able to punch their soup or heat pump punch card, and will be one punch closer to their free Little Caesars pizza. After, we will have a presentation from David, who has informed me that every time he says the word unicycle, juggle, joggle, the Braves, or math, Kevin will give Dakota or George and I what David describes as the sloppy toppy. I'm unsure what that means, but I'm excited to find out. Keenan will follow this up with another presentation. Keenan texted me earlier asking how much nudity he was allowed to have in his presentation. I told him full frontal, so fingers crossed. After that, we will have a 5-minute break.
I don't have a musical number.
If you're gonna walk around, this mic will send your audio into the
I
recording.
might, just. I still use the mic. That we can. Must be. I haven't prepared anything really. But is this on? Okay. I'd be lying if I said that, 2023 had been an easy year. And there's times when you're treading water where you're like, how long do I have before I go under? And, but nowadays, the question I find myself asking more often is like, how long can I hold my breath before I get to go up, and catch some air? And what happens if I never come up? And so I want to do something fun tonight to kind of keep it light and just have fun with it. And I thought that I thought maybe a poem. Oh shit. I thought that maybe a poem, that's not a solid surface, would be a good way to kind of, keep things funner and reflect back on 2023. Am I in the camera? Am I in the shot? Oh shit. Wow, that's real. Shit, dude, AI's gone crazy. That's nuts. Okay. I was told I had 15 to 20 minutes, so if someone wants to start the timer, you could do that now. Okay. So I thought a poem would be nice. Begin your search where time was transcendent. Crack open the books, they're interdependent. Lift up your eyes and look for the mark. Hike to the tree that stands without bark. Past the grain tower that looks out to the west. Not more than an hour, you'll know by its crest. Look down at your map to not wander with thirst. Remember, 2 less than on top of the first. You'll know you're close where it's time to frown. What points to heaven, but is upside down. It's not done. Please hold your applause till the end of the presentation. Get off the road at the airplane without wings. Search from the shoulder and fortune it will bring. So I thought tonight would be a fun night to kind of go to review the year, to kind of go over some of my favorite solves of the poem. I did these boards. These are from student projects, and just this was actually a really nice board about a crocheting project, and it got a 4, which for you old folks out there is an A in today's lingo. So, okay, here we go. Begin your search where time was transcendent. Crack open the books, they're interdependent. In June of 2013, lightning struck the clock tower of the Salt Lake City and County building, and it froze the time at 4:58 p.m. And so we could think of like the time on the clock as being transcendent of actual physical time, like it was kind of crossing over the boundary of actual physical time in a way that was transcendent. So the City County building clock tower is where we start our search. Lift up your eyes to look for the mark. Hike to the tree that stands without bark. The tree that stands without bark is a metaphor for the government. And if you've ever taken, even an elementary school civics class, you'll know the 3 branches of government are the legislative, judicial, and executive branches of government, and they're interdependent. So that's kind of a throwback. These 2 lines kind of go together here. So we're going to be looking for the 3 branches of government here. I call this one national treasure. Okay. Look down at your map to not wander with thirst. Remember 2 less than on top of the first. This is out of order. I taped these on wrong. Past the grain tower that looks out to the west, not more than an hour, you'll know by its crest. If you head directly west, across the street from the City and County building, you will run into the Matheson Courthouse, which is where the Utah Supreme Court meets. Okay, it's the courthouse for the Utah Supreme Court, and you'll notice it very closely resembles a grain tower. It's got a cylindrical shape. It's got this domed roof. It looks like a grain tower. And there was a clue here with grain, and they used lorem ipsum as the clue for this. And there's really only like one place where Latin phrases are still widely used in everyday work, and it's in the judicial system. It's in the court system and in the law. So that was another clue with grain. Okay. And with the Latin there. And the crest here is the Matheson Courthouse. Matheson is a famous name in Utah politics and history. It's like their family crest, their family name that's on the courthouse. Okay. All right. So we've got by the way, the City County building was actually the first state house of Utah. It's where the first Utah state legislature met. So that's the legislative. We've got it. We've got the judicial. Now, what do we just need to look for? The executive branch. Okay. Look down at your map to not wander with thirst. This means you've got your map, you've got your trail that you're on now. Don't wander off of it. Stay on track. Okay, so don't wander around. Stay on your line. Stay on your track that you're now on. Remember 2 less than on top of the first. Well, the first executive, the first governor of Utah, obviously was Brigham Young. And what's on top of Brigham Young? Your mom. No, just kidding. His grave, his tomb. And if you go to what's on top of the first governor of Utah, if you go to, which by the way is just right over by Temple Square, okay, but it's like kind of weirdly, there's a plaque, but like otherwise you wouldn't know it was there. Okay, so you go to Brigham Young's grave, and on top of it is the Pioneer Trail historical marker number 78. And it's this cool little bronze thing, and it's got this, I think the Pioneer Trail symbol for the Pioneer Trail historical marker is actually cool. It's like an ox's skull, which is kind of fucking hardcore. Okay. And it's number 78. So 2 less than that would be Pioneer Historic Trail Marker number 76. And you look it up, you're like, well, what the fuck is Pioneer Historic Trail Marker number 76? It was, and I like the word remember here, remember 2 less, because it's not there anymore. It was the historic marker that was on the pavilion of the original Saltaire, which was the big, cool, fun place, resort at the Great Salt Lake, which, oh my God, it's right on the line that we're looking at. We're like, how far do we go on this line? Oh, to number 76, to the original Saltaire. So you go out there, You put on your fucking Duluth hat with the wide brim, the blue one, and you take like a bottle of water. It's not enough. It's not enough because it's July. It's fucking hot. You're gonna like, there's a point where you're gonna go like, I might die. And your phone's dead, so you're fucked. And you go out there, and you know what? It's not there. There's no treasure. There's no treasure. And you could tell everybody's been out there. They've been digging around in the mud, making a mess. There's no treasure. So you go home and you go, you know what? I shot my shot. We had fun, right? That's what it's all about, guys. It's about fun, right? You'll know you're close where it's time to frown. Well, the treasure's not there. I'm frowning. I don't feel great. What points to heaven is upside down? On the path out to the original Saltaire, where the boardwalk used to be that took you out. What points to heaven but is upside down is some graffiti, which has been illegally and, you know, and wrongly written on one of the barriers there that leads out to the trail. And it says, it says all girls should have a poem written for them, even if we have to turn the whole goddamn world upside down. Okay? What points to heaven but is upside down? The world's upside down. And the world points to heaven. Like, here's the sky, here's the ground. The ground points up to the sky. And this is especially evident out by the Great Salt Lake because it's so flat. It's so flat. It's just flat. At the sky. Oh my God, what? The world's upside down. What does that mean? What is that? What? Oh my gosh, the world's upside down. The map's upside down. The whole map's upside down. This is what's so genius about this. Because if you say clues, like here's clue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the treasure, somebody might be able to like skip some of the clues. They just guess it by the last one. That's a bummer. You're like, oh my God, they made all the clues to the wrong place. That's so cool. But now you got your map. You go, well, I got to go this far. I got to go this direction. I just got to flip it upside down, do it the other way. So you go the opposite direction from where you start. So you say, instead of going Salt Lake City County building this way, we're just gonna go this way instead. And you look up on the map, okay, and what do you find? You find a road up by Park City called Hilltop Drive. Okay, get off the road at the airplane without wings. This is the most obvious clue in the whole puzzle, okay, which is why I think it's a clue. Hey, remember Back to the Future? Remember like the clock thing? That's why that's a clue to where to start because it's like the most obvious one. Okay, so then. But you're like, well, Hilltop. What's the Hilltop? Okay, Back to the Future takes place in Hill Valley. That's the name of the town where the airplane without wings happens. Okay, Hilltop. But you're like, so Hill Valley, Hilltop. The world's upside down. Remember what was upside down? The whole goddamn world. So if you have a Hill Valley and then you turn the world upside down, what do you have now? You have a Hilltop. Okay. So you go up to Hilltop Drive, and Hilltop Drive is a road that goes through this neighborhood, and then right where it ends is this dirt road that goes around a circle up to the top of this hill with a cell phone tower and a water tower on top. So you're like, Dakota, when are you almost here? He's like, dude, I'm not fucking coming. I'm like, but you asked for the address. He's like, I was just curious. I just want to know where it was. I was like, I assumed. I was in a hurry. I didn't eat. I had an appointment. I canceled. I can't come. There's an emergency. Someone came on. Okay, so I go up there, and then here's the idea. Well, you got this cool road that's in just a perfect circle around that hill leading up to the top. And then we said, well, what if that's like a clock? And we just got to figure out what time on the clock was the airplane without wings. And then that's where we're going to find the treasure. Okay? It's not there. That's okay. You know what I think is there? I think my goddamn blue hat's there. And I went back and I checked. Okay. And it's all about having fun, right? It's like, Dad, you're not listening to me. Why don't you pay attention to me? It's like, that's the thing. Treasure hunting is supposed to be fun. It's so lonely. It's so lonely, and up in your head, it's like you're just stuck in this tornado, right? And you got like this beautiful little girl. She's trying to like show you her drawing. You're like, I'm thinking about the Grain Tower, man. I'm not even here. I'm not even here. So it's like, no more. I shot my shot. I got to do it. It was fun. Right? Well, but then it's like, oh my God. You pick it up in the middle of the night. Dakota, you want to hold this for me? Okay. We started at the right place. We got that down. Okay, begin your search where time is transcendent. Crack open the books that are independent. The city county building, the lightning thing. We figured that out. Lift up your eyes to look at. You're at the city county building. You look up. Here's the thing. This one was kind of crazy. It was bouncing around. There's a lot going on. It's fucking genius. But there were some stretches. It wasn't simple. It was complicated, right? It shouldn't be too complicated. Lift up your eyes. Okay, you're at the city county building. The clock tower got frozen. You look up. What are you going to see? Well, you're going to see the clock. And what's on the clock? 4:58. Lift up your eyes to look at the mark. Hike to the tree that stands without bark. Okay, the mark is the clock. The clock's the mark. The clock's where you got to go, right? On a treasure map, the mark, that means go there. We're not looking for, by the way, John's one of the dudes. John's like, one of the themes of this poem is time. Oh, my God, the time. That's where we got to go. So we're going to, and Dakota, you don't have to hold it this way the whole time, but this is where we're going to go. We're going to go 5 o'clock. We're just going to follow the line the whole time. And here's what I love about it. So it's just simple. You just start, you just go that direction. And then the rest of the poem just like boom, 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 boom. It's not complicated. It's just once you figure it out, the rest just solves itself. This one's quicker. Hike to the tree that stands without bark. By the way, the city county building is at Washington Square, named after George Washington. That's the name of the square that it's on. Okay. Which is going to keep kind of showing up. Hike to the tree that stands without bark. You follow that line, you're going to run into Liberty Park, like the Liberty Tree. Okay. We've got a Revolutionary War founding fathers theme going here. You keep going past the grain tower. Grain in Latin means like granite, which never mind, not going there. Okay. And you run into the Granite Stake Center, which is this old historic chapel, gorgeous. And on front, it's got this big, really cool, like stone crest. Not more than an hour, you'll know by its crest, right on the front. It's gorgeous. Look down at your map to not wander with thirst. It's just saying like, hey, follow this line, stay on course, don't get distracted. Remember 2 less than on top of the first. Okay, John said something. This is like what cracked this open for me. John said, he said, to solve this, 2 less than on top, he said, you need to do some elementary school math. He didn't say easy math, kids math, simple math. George's going to do the math thing, so I don't want to step on his toes. He said, elementary school math. Well, the elementary school that's closest to downtown Salt Lake City, it's like right over by Temple Square, the city, or the Utah Capitol, but it's like right there. It's called Washington Elementary because it's named after George Washington, right? The first, remember 2 less than on top of the first president, the elementary school named after the first president, Washington Elementary. And what does it have? Front door, front entrance, hanging over the door is a bell, a big bell, hanging over the door. Obviously a reference, Washington Elementary, a reference to the Liberty Bell, liberty, freedom, Revolutionary War stuff. Okay, 2 less than on top of the first. Now the math gets weird here. I'm just going to say like, it's got a bell, -2, it's got -1 bell. That's the thing. Okay, we got a negative bell here, a minus bell. Well, you keep following that line, especially if you're thirsty, and you're going to run into, okay, so it hit, we're just following the line, City County Building, Liberty Park, Granite Stake Center. You're going to run into Lower Bells Canyon Reservoir, a lower bell, like a -1 bell, a lower bell. I think it's good. I think it works. Okay. You're going to run into Lower Bells Canyon Reservoir, and you're going to, oh my God, this is what I love the most about it. This is the best thing. You're going to, if you like go by a bell, ding, you're going to ding the bell, right? You're going to ring the bell. Okay. You're going to remember, look down at your map to not wander. It doesn't say like pass 2 less than, it says remember to, it says ring a bell. Like, do you remember that? Does that ring a bell? You're going to ring the fucking bell. You're going to ring Bells Canyon Reservoir as you go by. Okay. You'll know you're close where it's time to frown. You're going to keep going. You're going to drop across the mountain now over into Utah County. Watch out. Okay. And you're going to hit this little corner of Alpine where all the rich people live. And there's a hiking area there called Poppies. Okay. I know, Pat, fuck off. Okay. Famous poem by John McCrae. In Flanders field where poppies blow between the crosses, row on row. It's about a cemetery because poppies are a symbol of death. Poppies are a symbol of cemeteries and death and grieving, which is why that's a place to frown. You know you're close. That means we're getting close. We're almost there where it's time to frown. And the poppies, what points to heaven, but it's upside down. And there's a trail there. There's 2 trails. They look like this. Well, there's one at the top, and then there's 2. It's like an upside down triangle. It's like an upside down pine tree. It really is. Like it's so well. It's just like that. Okay. And the upside down pine tree, what points to heaven but is upside down? The flag that George Washington troops carried during the Revolutionary was called the Appeal to Heaven flag. And it's a big pine tree. And at the top it says, an appeal to heaven. It means like, you know, like God's on our side. We're making an appeal to God, whatever. It's literally the tree on the flag is literally pointing to the word heaven at top of the flag. Okay. And what is one of the trails they're called is called the Corkscrew Trail. Get off the road at the airplane without wings. Airplane without wings. Corkscrew. It's going to spiral. It's going to corkscrew out of the air. It's going to crash. Okay. Search from the shoulder and fortune will be. So you hike Corkscrew Trail. This time you don't go by yourself. You pack a lunch. You bring water. You bring your daughters. You bring your family. Right. You say, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to run off and leave you alone. I'm going to bring you with me. Okay. And they're so cute. They're so cute. Your daughter's got her little cute hat. And your other daughter's in her stroller. They're cute. They're like, Daddy, we want fruit snacks. And you go hiking. And they turn around. They go back down to the car because at some point it's too hot. You're like, I'm going to finish. Well, I'll be back. Okay. And then you hike. And off the trail, you see out in like the middle of the dirt, out in the middle of nowhere, like on this like bike trail, a road barrier, like a concrete road barrier. Search from the shoulder. It's like a road shoulder. It's like what's on the shoulder of the road is the concrete barrier. Search from the shoulder and fortune it will bring. So you get down on your knees. There's like a tunnel under this barrier because it's got like the feet and it's got like a tunnel and you're like, oh my God, this is it. You're there. You found it. It's the time. It's the place. You figured it out. And then you get a phone call. The phone call is like, is everything okay? It's your wife. You're like, the girl's okay? Kids okay? We good? She's like, yeah. She's like, hey, someone found the treasure. Someone found the treasure? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I missed it. I was like, those other two people, that was them. They looked happy, right? They found it. Then you find, you're like, it was up in Bountiful. It's at Mueller Park. And you go, oh my God, I'm so relieved. You're like, everything, the last 2 months, just let it go, right? It's like Frozen, man. It's like, you're free. You're free from these shackles that have chained you. You're free. And you're just like happy. You're like, I'm so happy for this person. And you're like, I'm so excited to see how they solved it. You're like, you know what? It's going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool to like see the real one. You know, like mine was fun. It was cool. I'm happy. The thing is, I'm happy with mine. I like that I did it. But I'm excited to see the real thing, right? So you're waiting. You're like, they'll be here any minute. Half hour later, an hour later, couple hours. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Right? You're like, I was feeling good. Now I'm wondering what's up. Now I'm really wondering what's up. It's like the jail cell opens up, the warden says, hey, you can go. You just can't cross that. Like you're like, well, actually. You're like, make it make sense. Fucking anybody, make it make sense. Right? We don't have time to go through all the bullshit, okay? But you want to talk about the solve? You want to talk about the solve? I've been waiting all goddamn day to talk about it. I would love to talk about the official solve. Okay? They finally fucking come on the video. They do the explanation. It makes no sense. You're like, whatever. Here's one thing. The lady seems cool, and she's like, hey, I saw this family out on the trail, and I want to give them some of the treasure. So you're like, that's cool. That's a cool story. Like, I feel good about that. You know, even if it doesn't make sense, at least we can feel good about it. Right? Then, oh my God. You're like that family from Fruit. You're like, I know what happened. You're like, I was at the trail when they like, okay, like she said like, oh, I went back to my hotel last night and I was trying to think through it. Like, I think she did go back to her hotel. I don't think she was alone. I think she was thinking about the treasure, but I don't think she was figuring out how to solve it. I got ideas about this guy. Okay. But then you realize, you're like, okay, then like right when they were going to reveal theirs, they're like, they're like, somebody's at the real treasure. Oh my God, somebody's at the real treasure in Alpine. Like, they're like, we're fucked. What are we going to do? Right. So then they're like, okay, here's the thing. Like they're like, let's look at the footage from Alpine. They're like, they said something about like Fruit Heights. There's something about fruits. Remember my daughter was like, Daddy, I want fruit snacks. That was why they're like, so she's like, there's these two cute little blonde boys in this family that was from Fruit Heights. I'm like, they heard us talking about the fruit snacks. You know, they could like, it was blurry. Like, so they probably thought Fruit Heights. They're like, just trying to guess. They're just trying to get out there like, hey, if you found the real treasure, we know who you are. We're just trying to like, and then here's like the last thing I'll say. Okay. And then they're like, the weird thing is they all three say this. Literally all three of them say, they're like, so how'd you figure it out? And she's like, oh, I was hiking, you know, and then I was like the Ensign Trail. And then she's like, Ensign is key. And then they all do this. They all go, oh yeah, Ensign is key. What's another name for a corkscrew? A wine key. I didn't know if you knew that. It's called a wine key. They're like, that's the hint. They're like, hey, we're going to say Ensign Trail is where this all happened, where it all went down. Like, it's really at Corkscrew Trail. That's like, when we say Ensign is key, like wink, wink, like Ensign's corkscrew. So she's like, hey, I saw this family, these two cute little blonde kids, but Tilly had a hat. So they probably thought she was a boy and Etta was in the stroller. So who fucking knows? And then they're like, you know, and then they're like then they're like from Fruit Heights because they're like fruit snacks. So then I go look. I go walking on down to my mother-in-law's room. I knock on the door. I'm like, Helen. And I'm like, I'm having a mental breakdown. She's like, dude. Yeah. And it's just about the fun, guys.
The loosest interpretation I've ever seen of a musical number. Okay, so as you guys know, I'm here to talk about math. Let me go ahead and get started here. This is just an audio test.
I think the Blue Toad is the best character because he's got the pizzazz. Did he say pizzazz?
I think so.
Audio's good.
Here's your quiz. Oh, there's. Okay. See if it works.
Okay.
Yeah. What do I point this at?
The receiver's right there. I don't know if it's working.
That's good.
Gotta do the old fashioned.
That's all right. So, as I said, I'd like to present on math. As a lot of you guys know, I'm really passionate about math. So I figured, why not present something that I am passionate about? Sorry, no, I think so. I put this in the Google Drive. I think somebody snuck this into my presentation. It just keeps going, I guess. Let's just get. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, that was something else I was working on for mom. Okay. Sorry about that. So this is my real presentation. For anybody who knows me, they know I'm passionate about two topics. That's right, I'm talking about math and motherfucking Jesus. Here's what I want to present on. I would like to present on the mathematical probability that Jesus is the Christ. So is Jesus the savior of mankind, or what? I know a lot of people have been, they've had this on their minds. They're trying to figure out if Jesus is really the Christ. And I'm not going to tell you guys what to believe, obviously, and this isn't supposed to be anti-religious, but just keep that in mind. Anyway, okay. Well, I know what you're thinking. George, you can't mathematically prove a religion right or wrong, right? Anyway, so the first thing that you need to look at, you need to ask the question, who is Jesus? And naturally I went straight to Urban Dictionary, and it said, Jesus is a common name for Hispanics. Jesus is the guy that will take your girl. Example, Jesus, isn't that Michael's girl? Shout out to Big Dick Boy. You know this is a pretty reputable. So I'm just saying, yeah. I know what else you're thinking. You're probably thinking, is Urban Dictionary a solid source of information? But if you look at this scale, the scientific scale of things we should be skeptical of versus websites we don't need to be skeptical of, over here you'll see like blogs, personal websites, things like that. But over here you'll see peer-reviewed scholarly journals, Reddit, books by experts, and then UD, of course. This is what fans of Urban Dictionary call it. And besides, like, why would somebody lie on the internet? Okay, so next, Jesus' plan for saving mankind. So some of this kind of speaks for itself. There's a bit of a mystery here. Maybe we'll circle back to this if we have time. But basically, we have this layout of his plan, right? Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You might be thinking, this is not the best plan I've ever seen for saving mankind. I posted this on Reddit just to get some feedback, and here's what the apostate-in-chief had to say. He gave it 0 stars. I thought that was pretty harsh, because even though it might not be the best plan for saving mankind you've ever seen, I will say it's not the worst plan for saving mankind that I've ever seen, because I have seen the 1998 hit movie Armageddon. I'm just saying it's not the worst plan for saving mankind that you'll see. So a couple things we know for sure about Jesus. We do know that he probably existed. That's commonly agreed upon by most historians. There's a little bit of gray area in there. Some people might argue that he maybe didn't exist, but I think for the most part, people agree that he did exist. We also know he really didn't lie that much, although I've seen Jewish people dispute this. We know he's expected back any day now. We also know he's a New York Times best-selling author. He sent a book, the Bible. He did try to follow it up with a sequel, the Book of Mormon, but it didn't get nearly the same traction. Not a bad read, though. He was a bit of a one-hit wonder. We also know he probably wasn't the Aztec bandit. So, of course, that begs the question, right? Who did the Aztec bandit? Just for all of your sake, I hope you've seen Community. If not, you can probably just go get a drink or step out for a few minutes. But okay, so I know what you're thinking, right? Dan Harmon said Annie is the Aztec bandit. Or he said she's probably the Aztec bandit. Originally, I had the video clip in here, but it's too long, so I cut it. But he said, word for word, it's probably Annie. So I go, well, class dismissed, right? I guess Dan Harmon said it's Annie, right? So it must be Annie. But in my opinion, this is suspiciously similar to when J.K. Rowling retconned Dumbledore being gay. I am not against Dumbledore being gay. Pretty progressive myself, but I will say, if you want Dumbledore to be gay, write it into the books, right? Until I see Dumbledore in the books, I don't think I don't accept it. Similarly, Dan Harmon can say that Annie's the ass crack bandit all he wants, but until I see Annie knee deep in some ass crack in the show, I don't believe it. So, and I know one other thing you guys might be thinking, right? In the last episode of Community, if you guys have seen the script, this is official Community canon, right? It says, this is the script, Annie was probably the ass crack bandit. But, oh well, class dismissed again, right? But I'd like to point something out here, right? So, on a scale of definitely not,
What about pretty probably?
we're somewhere around here, right? So, probably is a pretty loose word, but to make matters worse, right? Okay, I looked up the word probably in the dictionary, and here's what it says. An adverb used in any statement which is almost certainly false. So, for example, where the hell is Tom? Oh, he probably ran down the train track and died of amnesia. Okay, obviously Tom didn't run down the train track and die of amnesia. That's not a thing, right? And also shout out to J-Dog for this great definition. 46 votes, pretty solid. So in reality, if we use the Urban Dictionary definition of probably, we're actually down here. It's not looking good. So, I guess the question is Annie the ass crack bandit or not? So, I came up with the name for this theory. I thought it was pretty eloquent. It's called the scat theory, the single crack or Annie theory. The leading theory is that Annie is the ass crack bandit. She's the only ass crack bandit. But basically what I'm going to prove is that the scat theory, bullshit, terrible, shit, like, right? So what I'm going to prove over the next couple minutes is that Annie cannot be the lone ass crack bandit. So first, I need to talk about why people think Annie is the ass crack bandit. First of all, her motive is supposedly it's an excuse to hang out with Jeff, right? She also shows high intelligence and detail. She's detail-oriented, that is similar to some serial killers, right? She also has the ability, or I guess the tendency to snap. If you've ever seen the Penn episode, right? She keeps a scrapbook of the Ass Crack Bandit. I'll show some clips from that later. But some people say it resembles like a trophy that a serial killer might keep. Also, she, if you guys remember the Psych profile episode, she, in addition to everybody except for Abed, tested positively for antisocial behavior. But honestly, the main reason why we should entertain the idea is that the writers think Annie's the Ass Crack Bandit, so we need to at least give this a closer look. So, what I want to do is just deconstruct what I just pitched, right? Those are the reasons that people think Annie's the Ass Crack Bandit, but here's 8 reasons why she cannot be the Ass Crack Bandit. To hang out with Jeff, in my opinion, is a pretty weak motive for terrorizing the student body. I don't know, disagree with me if you'd like. It also seems unlikely she'd be able to perpetrate all the cracking while simultaneously leading the investigation. I'm not convinced that Annie would crack Troy, but she knows how vulnerable he is, right? This one's kind of specific. So there's a moment in the episode where Starburns gets caught as the Ass Crack Bandit, and Annie goes to visit Duncan. More about this in a minute, but she is still genuinely worried that that he is the Ass Crack Bandit. So think of it this way: you're Annie, and you're the Ass Crack Bandit. You're the only person going around slipping quarters down butts, right? And Starburns just took the fall for you. You go to visit Duncan in his office, and you think, oh shit, this might be the Ass Crack Bandit. That would make no goddamn sense if you were the Ass Crack Bandit, right? Also, the Ass Crack Bandit is the one that pointed out that Jeff and Annie were probably just like, I think he calls the dean, and he's like, what are these two, right? They should just get a room or whatever. Why would Annie do that? That doesn't make any sense, right? Also, we're going to take a closer look at her investigative binder. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but basically, if you look at the binder, they actually sold this at auction after Community was over, and you're able, like, the people opened it up, took pictures, posted on the internet, so we can see her binder, and it is filled with investigation and speculative questions. So, my question is, if she has this binder that she's making, and she keeps it to herself, she doesn't show this to anybody, right? Why would she pretend to be investigating herself just for the sake of keeping a little binder? It doesn't make any sense. Here's a couple of screenshots. I won't go into it, but basically she offers speculation and uncertainty. She's trying to draw connections between things. It does not seem like Ass Crack Bandit behavior, in my opinion. Couple more reasons. Annie is academically driven. There's a point in the episode where she gets suspended, and Jeff has to become the water polo coach. So remember, her motive is to hang out with Jeff. She just got suspended. Jeff now has less time to hang out because he's the water polo coach. So what does Annie do? She keeps investigating. Why would she keep investigating? She was just doing this to hang out with Jeff. Okay. Basically, right? Annie goes to visit Duncan, thinks that it's him, and then goes to Jeff like, hey, I think it's Duncan, and then Duncan gets cracked. Like, that just doesn't make any sense, right? Why would Annie crack Duncan after making him a suspect, right? Why would Annie do that? Anyway. So basically, the scat theory is horseshit. It's terrible. So, just gonna move past that one. So what does this mean? If the writers think that Annie is one of the crackers, but she cannot be the lone Ass Crack Bandit, that only leaves one solution, right? There's got to be multiple Ass Crack Bandits. I call it the NFC theory. I don't know, NFC doesn't really well come here. But basically, if Annie is one of the crackers, but not the only cracker, that explains her extreme motivation to go look for the other bandits, right? Who is imitating me? Who are they? That explains her motivation. More so than just being the cracker. So what I want to look at next is a handwriting analysis of the 2 notes left by the Ass Crack Bandit. They're a little hard to see, so here's number 1. You can kind of see it. I'll get a better picture in a minute. Zoom in and enhance. Here's the other one, right? Looks okay. Zoom in, enhance. Let's get them side by side. So the one on the left, you can see it's like maybe in cursive. It's very loopy. The handwriting on the right is very scraggly and very scratchy, right? It's not very well put together. So That's kind of interesting. There's somebody leaving notes on campus as the Ass Crack Bandit, but sometimes their handwriting dramatically changes. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm getting some head shakes.
No way.
Some head shakes. Not the same handwriting, not even close, right? So that begs the question, right? If Annie is one of multiple crackers, who are the others? Before we dive into that, I do have to clear something up. There's this teacher theory that Annie pitches in the episode. Obviously, Annie is a huge liar. We'll talk about why. But according to Annie, the Ass Crack Bandit is a teacher who likes Dave Matthews. This is a lie. Right? So, here's the conversation. We'll go through this quickly. The conversation that Annie has with Jeff, where she pitches the teacher theory. She says, I ran through 3 different cracking sites. The Ass Crack Bandit did it in 10 minutes. It took me 20 minutes, right? So Jeff says, he's just playing on his phone. He's not really paying attention. He says, so he's got long legs, whatever. And she says, no, I think he has something we don't. I think he has the faculty lounge. Here's her fatal mistake. Now Jeff is playing on his phone, so he's not paying attention, right? But here's where she points in the episode. She starts here, she goes to here. So let me ask you, how far do you think the average college woman can run in 20 minutes? And is it less than the length of a building and a half? So like a somewhat fit, Annie is at least somewhat fit, right? She could easily run probably about 2 miles in 20 minutes. Are you trying to get me this right here, this little elbow here is 2 miles long? No. Right? Also, where the fuck is the teacher's lounge here? And how can you take a shortcut? If you have to hit this elbow here, where's the shortcut? Right? Okay. So clearly, right here, Annie is talking out of her ass. Right? She's not making any sense. Anyway. Okay, so here's what we know. We know Annie cannot be the lone Ass Crack Bandit. There's likely multiple Ass Crack Bandits. And that the other Ass Crack Bandit may or may not be a teacher, not really verified, right? We can't really depend on that too much. So who might the other crackers be, right? That's what we need to look at. Could it be Britta, right? She has a little slip up here at the end of the episode. It could be Duncan. The Ass Crack Bandit takes a hiatus for 3 years while Duncan is gone, which is kind of weird. Could be Abed. He's pretty nimble with a quarter, right? Or it could be Jesus. We haven't ruled that out yet. So I think it's probably Jesus, and I'm going to talk about why. I apologize for that long introduction, but here's what I wanted to speak on today. I wanted to talk about the mathematical probability that Jesus is the Ass Crack Bandit. Okay, so I know what you're thinking, George, you can't mathematically prove something about a fictional TV show. Anyway, so the first thing we need to do is we need to do our due diligence. Let's talk about why he wouldn't be the Ass Crack Bandit. First of all, let's look in the scriptures, right? If we look in Matthew chapter 5, this is the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, but I say to you that whosoever looketh after a woman and lust after her crack, adultery in his heart. I'm pretty sure that's how those brackets work. So, I guess that's it though. That's all the scriptural evidence I could find that Jesus is not the Ass Crack Bandit. That's the only one that he directly condemns ass crackery. A couple more just logical reasons, right? He's really not, if you study his character in the Bible, he's really not that funny. He's not that much of a prankster. He's pretty serious. He's the straight man, so to speak. We also know he's probably too busy becoming a muscle monster in the gym. That's a joke just for Dakota. We also know he's against sodomy, right? So can Jesus even drop quarters on cracks if he's against sodomy? Is that a sin? If you look in verse 69, the Bible says sodomy is bad. So,
John verse 69.
So, yeah, is Jesus allowed to drop quarters down cracks? Isn't that sodomy? Technically, no. So, of course, I looked it up on and here's what it said. When you stick your man rod in your partner's pool, illegal in Texas, right? Example, prepare to taste sweet sodomy. Also, shout out to Matt, got a lot of upvotes here. You probably didn't know when he posted this back in 2005 that I was using this. Thank you, I appreciate it. Basically, what we found is a loophole, right? Jesus is allowed to put quarters down, but it's just a prank. It's not sodomy, so it doesn't count. Here's a picture of the Aztec bandit, right? This might be Jesus. Also, this is some of you guys have probably seen this picture, right? This is in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. This is Michelangelo. He painted on the ceiling the creation, right? What you guys might not know is this is actually the only known picture of Jesus that survived, I guess, all those years. It's the only known picture, photograph evidence. So if we zoom in and enhance a little bit. So what we have here is we have the only known picture of the Aztec bandit's hands, and then Jesus' hand. I think they look pretty similar, right? Or at least similar enough. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up real quick. I don't want to take too long. But to run through some evidence of why Jesus could be the Aztec bandit. He denies a lot of things in the Bible. He never denies being the Aztec bandit. Nobody's ever seen him and the Aztec bandit in the same room at the same time. Why not? Right? Just asking questions. So we know from the Gospel of John that Jesus wept. Right? Why did Jesus weep? Right? The Bible does not specifically say whether or not it's tears of sadness or tears of joy. It's just kind of tears of empathy. But maybe he was crying with laughter from dropping quarters down. Also, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but why do all the apostles and angels wear robes? Okay, I'm going to close it up. Let's do an experiment real quick. Okay, so I want you to think of one person from the Bible who is Jewish. Did you pick Jesus? Now, I want you to think of one person from Community who is Jewish. Did you pick Annie Edison? Both Jewish. That's kind of interesting, right? So my theory is that Annie and Jesus teamed up to be the Aztec bandit. Anything that Annie couldn't do, or any behavior that couldn't be described by Annie being the Aztec bandit, that's where Jesus fills in the holes. That was unintentional. So, in conclusion, right? As per the evidence, the mathematical probability that Jesus is the Aztec bandit is at least non-zero, right? It has to be non-zero. We even know there's some precedents for that, right? Jeff convinces the study group that a ghost took the pen in the pen episode, right? So metaphysical stuff is definitely a possibility in this universe. But also, really, if you think about it, there's only two possibilities. Either he is the Aztec bandit or he isn't. Thus, this means that the odds of Jesus must be 50-50. I do have a math degree if you want to come at me, right? This is how probability works. So, for the first time ever, here's Jesus' real plan revealed. I think I'm the first person to ever figure this out, right? All right, so for example, that was the mystery, right? We solved it. Thank you guys for coming on this journey with me. I hope you enjoyed it.
Good evening, esteemed friends and members of the Brownwig crew. So, I don't really know anything about heat pumps, but I did originally prepare a riveting presentation covering the in-camera color science of various cinema cameras and other important nuggets of information, all with the goal of teaching us each how to be able to clearly explain the difference between 444, 422, and 420. But unfortunately, a more pressing issue has arisen that I simply can't ignore. When I was at the University of Utah, I had a class, Comm 5300, or Mass Comm Law. In this class, we learned about dozens of court cases throughout U.S. history that set precedent for all types of First Amendment laws. I learned about the bounds of free speech, the difference between slander and libel, the Freedom of Information Act, etc., etc. But don't ask me about any of it, because I don't remember. But I do remember one thing. I remember something the professor said shortly before his brain aneurysm. He said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, "Unless you're going to practice law, I don't expect you to remember every detail you learn here. But someday you'll be at your job at an ad agency or wherever, and you'll remember this class and be able to spot if something isn't quite aligning with First Amendment law. Well, he was right. Because just a few weeks ago, I was at my job at an ad agency or wherever, and in this very room during our monthly staff meeting, and I was bored, so I was just browsing on my phone, and I saw this. Oh, this got left in here from my original presentation. I saw this, and I immediately spotted that something wasn't quite aligning with First Amendment law. What is this, you ask? Well, first of all, it's an abomination, but it's also copyright infringement. Because you see, this so-called logo for the so-called Blonde Wig Productions is a clear mimicry, a caricature, spoof, imitation, farce, lampoon, burlesque of the actual logo for the actual Brown Wig Productions. Which is a masterpiece, by the way. Look at this. Everyone, please give a hand to Shay for creating such a magnificent icon. So, when I saw this, I immediately called out the offense. This is copyright infringement, I said calmly. Then the defendant wrote, "It looks nothing like the Brown Wig logo. Look, Florida isn't even on the correct coast." So then I went ahead and prompted my attorney to draft a cease and desist letter. Sorry, I don't know how that got in there. So I went ahead and prompted my attorney to draft a cease and desist letter. And then the defendant rebutted with... So it was clear the defendant wasn't going to back down. I needed to start building my case. First, I had to make sure I clearly understood the law. Oxford English Dictionary defines copyright infringement as the use of works protected by copyright without permission for a usage where such permissions is required, thereby infringing certain exclusive rights granted to the copyright holders, such as the right to reproduce, distribute, display, or perform the protected work or to make derivative works. Also, Webster's Dictionary defines copyright infringement as the use of works protected by copyright without permission for a usage where such permission is required, thereby infringing certain exclusive rights granted to the copyright holder, such as the right to reproduce, distribute, display, or perform the protected work, or make derivative works. Got it. So at this point, clearly understanding the law, I anticipated every possible angle the defense might take. Oh, it looks nothing alike. Look at Florida. Well, to that, I say... Wait for it. Ah ha ha. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you can clearly tell by the pixels that so-called Blonde Wig Productions' so-called logo is in fact poorly traced from Brown Wig Productions' actual logo, but flipped horizontally and given yellow hair in place of the brown. A mere counterfeit, caricature, a spoof, imitation, farce, lampoon, burlesque, if you will, created with the use of a simple graphics editor. No argument the defendant makes, fair use, derivative works, none of that can outweigh this concrete proof that he in fact stole this artwork and defiled it and is guilty of infringing on the intellectual property of Brown Wig Productions. Boo, boo. Yes, exactly. I rest my case, I said in my mind as I sat here in this very room, daydreaming during staff meeting. But then staff meeting ended, and I had to get back to doing my job at this ad agency or wherever. And over the next several days and weeks, as I continued researching and chatting with my attorney, I came to realize that an expensive, messy, complicated, high-profile lawsuit clearly isn't the answer. Maybe I should give David the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe this isn't a big deal at all. Maybe he was just doing his best to create a vectorized replica of the Brown Wig logo so he could create a patch of it or something. And then he shared a blonde version as a joke. I don't know. We may never know. So I came up with an amicable solution. David, could you please come up here? I asked an actual attorney to draft this settlement agreement, which allows you to continue using the Blonde Wig Productions logo however you see fit. All you have to do is sign, and this will all be over. At this point, David came up. He said he would read it first, but he actually had a peace offering, and he gave us all patches. Only, conveniently, the patch he gave me was blonde. So I took back the agreement, and I will be contacting my attorney. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Date. Oh, fuck, that's not right. This is all jumbled up. Most people just call me Nerd. That's not right either. Dren. Tonight, I'm going to share a bit of my personal history with the crew and some of my favorite memories. Even though I was already a member of the Jodo when some of you were still ditting in Shipers, I didn't join the crew until relatively recently. The first crew event I attended was Beige Call in 2015. I had just moved back to the Steehive Bait from Falicornia less than a week prior. Several years later, in 2020, oh wait, no, that's supposed to be 20, no, never mind. Trevor invited me to play Bisbee Frolf. That same year, I went to my very first Gangstiving. And the Kiss Dord was born shortly thereafter.
The world was in a global pandemic, and people were more isolated than ever. But I was grateful to have this dysfunctional tag-rag group of fistmits. This group has helped me through some of the martest moments of my life. You will never know how much that has meant to me. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. My connection to the crew goes all the way back to elementary school at Penny J. Woostart, when a kid named Weber Trilliums moved in. He was the only kid I knew who swore. And I always thought he was so ad-bass. My favorite memory with Trevor was at UUS, where we started a band together called Rudolph and the Brown-Nosed Reindeer, or Rat Boner for short. Weirdly, none of that was jumbled up. I played the marharmonica while Trevor jammed on the tagar, and we made enough money hand-pandling outside the library for each of us to eat a Berto's burrito. Kevin, I'll never forget the time you invited a bunch of people to your house on a late start Friday to watch Merrill and Hod. I was the only person who showed up. And I feel like we bonded that morning and kicked off a 5-long lens ship. Dorj and Jakota, do you guys remember the time that I beat both of you in Gisk Golf at Friedrich? Or
I've never been there.
Or the other time that I beat you at TCDA?
I don't know what that is.
Maybe if this whole thing wasn't so jumbled up. Pat, where are you? Pat. I had this crazy idea to make this insane commercial for a board game I invented, Case Paul Baps. You supported me every step of the way, from planning to shooting to equipment to editing. It turned out so Greeking food. Thank you very much. Matt, some of the best times of my life were with you back at New Bond, living the dream. One time, we got into a car with 3 hot Lear cheaters. They wanted to make out with us, maybe even more. But we were too cool for them. So we just had them drop us off at our houses. That's a true story. Also, Schnugelfests. Also, weirdly, that word wasn't jumbled up. In the middle of the night, and the time that we bardy poyed COVID. Steve, it was a cold, dark night in Vash Cali. Some innocent freshman had made an enormous moose man behind the can mower. We weren't going to let such a boring creation remain outside our home. So we did the right thing, and we sculpted that moose man into a huge postniness, complete with veins and balls. Also a true story. Another memory is of Ticey Spee, who unfortunately isn't here with us tonight. And he rest in peace tonight in his bed. Just saying, I hope he sleeps well. One day he told me that he wanted to watch a baseball game with a real baseball fan. That meant a lot to me. He came to my home in Bay Drake and watched an entire Batlanta Aves game with me. And that was really cool. It would take me all day to list all my fun memories with y'all, and I hope we'll make many more in the future. Long live the crew, even though most of you have really bad opinions about how to run the KISS stored.
Better get that in writing.
I'll leave it, they're all gone.
Well. Your friend. I was thinking, how was I not invited to all the things you guys did all throughout high school? How was I not allowed to join in? How did me, somebody who'd taken many years of acting, not invited to any of the T.C. Christensen filming, stuff like that, which I then would watch in church and just flipping you guys off the entire time at church because I wasn't invited. And I'm like, oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. You know what they're missing? Somebody who's a little bit taller who can only grow sideburns because it'd be great in the time of Joseph Smith time. But no, I wasn't invited to that. Could it be that I didn't have a car or a license till I turned a week before I turned 18 because my mom said I needed to get my Eagle project done before I turned 18? And I did the week before I turned 18. Could it be that I never owned a cell phone till I turned 25 years old? It's probably that one. I have a cell phone now, guys. And I wrote down some of the speech on my phone last night while on the toilet at about 3 a.m. So let's get into this. Also, speaking of things that you guys don't do, I have been doing comedy every Friday night since high school, minus 2 years when I wasn't in the country for some reason, and none of you have been to them. You've been to one. You've been to one.
I've been to 3.
No, bull crap!
I've seen you like 10 times.
Sure, no, you haven't. You know why? Because the audience usually is like 4 or 5 people, and I'm pretty sure none of them are you. All right. But I wrote down this. Where did I put it? Okay, cool. I wrote down, Oxford Dictionary defines Kenan Abeg as error. If there's something wrong with your spelling, please check the spelling and try again. Fair enough. I have a phone. Let's see. Hat is a donkey balls. Oh, right. So what was my dojo job, or my dough job, when we had the dojo? I was looking over here, and I wasn't really kept around for much. I think there was one point there when I was interested in the girl that Jesse dated. I think solely just to be, I was the guy in the Jessie Girl song, and say that I wrote that. The only thing that I remember doing, it was class of 09, so 2009.
there was a big billboard we had up, and I don't have a computer, but if I had a computer, I would have put it on this thing here. There was a thing that said, "Seniors are outrageous." We took the N and put the from outrageous, and we made a new N-word that day, and I was proud of that N-word, and I tell everybody around that I was part of the N-word, and that I got my card for saying such N-word. But they made us change it back, and that's basically all they have going for me. So,
What did it say?
well, it said seniors are nutrageous. And so when people say, "Do you have an N-word pass?" I say, "Nutrageous, I do." You're my nutter. That's hard R too. All right, so let's go. So a little thing that you guys, I'm just gonna keep the camera moving. A little thing that you guys know, or if you would have been if you've seen me on Fridays, is that not only do I do stand-up, I mostly do improv comedy just because I don't have to prepare because I don't have a computer. So I'm gonna need help from you guys, the audience, for this one here. So I need a topic. Let's go back to this back table. Give me a topic. Copyright infringement. All right. As it says, Webster's Dictionary in Oxford. Can you go back to whatever? Okay, yeah. It's got to be improv. All right, we'll try this. This table, give me a subject. Math. Okay. So, no. All right. Okay. This. I'm gonna try this one more time. This side, give me a subject. This table. This table right here.
Treasure hunting.
Treasure hunting. That's my talk for tonight, and you'll have a good time. Yeah, so we'll have a 5-minute break. Go get food, go to the bathroom. We'll be back up.
Oh yeah, it's at one. Okay, yeah. Crowds are bigger than I don't.
Were you genuinely concerned for me when I checked on your chair?
Yes.
All right. Welcome back. Thank you all for your speeches, your ramblings, whatever you want to call it. Next, we will have Patrick Ingberson as he presents our theme for the night. And then finally, we will hear from Shay Stone, who will give us the State of the Crew address. Following his speech, the State of the Crew will be adjourned. Afterwards, we'll have our second Tanks. Kiddies? Host? Me?
I think it's you this year, bud.
I haven't done anything for that.
George has some lines for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see how it goes. And time willing, we will open the floor up to toasts at the end of the night to stoke the ego flame even higher.
How many things should I hold as my hands? 8. 4. Put them all on the lectern and then pick the lectern. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. It does mean a lot to me that everybody came out, and this event is something I've been looking forward to for a very long time. And tonight we gather here for this intervention for Royden and Keenan. Tonight, here at Reading Horizons is the night that we finally teach them how to read. Oh shit, was I not supposed to say that it's an intervention? Well, for anyone who wasn't expecting to see them here, now you know why they're here. Coming up with an event called The State of the Crew was simply the perfect ruse. And I truly believe that here at Reading Horizons, is where reading momentum begins. And you can quote me on that. Now, before I get into the details, the nitty-gritty, if you will, on phonological awareness, I do want to pause and thank our host of the night, let's have a big round of applause for our host, Dakota, the one true wave bird, Briggs. That's the wave bird, folks, right there. And you know, you guys, he's doing his best. He's doing his best, and really, can we ask any more of that from him? And let's have some more applause for Kevin, Zach, David, and Keenan for their speeches, their presentation. And George, I zoned out during your math presentation, but I think for the math folks here, there was some very practical information, and I'm sure they loved it. So moving on. Yeah, let's teach these two handsome devils to read, right? I can tell they're excited.
I almost died that day.
I don't even like looking at that picture, but I specifically needed a thumbs up. Now, as I've often said, the core principles of learning to read are a lot like the Avengers. You've got phonics, decoding strategies, multisensory techniques, reading aloud, vocabulary building, and diagnostic assessments. And these concepts will assemble, so to speak, to form a sort of crime-fighting team. Now, now some of you are starting to think, Pat, weren't you supposed to do a presentation on the future? And that's true. The theme of tonight, and I think the theme of the 2024 year, in my mind, for the crew is the future. And so let's get into it. Let's get into the future. I kind of missed that whole joke, but that's okay.
We'll pretend.
I was gonna write my speech, but then I got high. Okay. The future. Okay. I knew I had too many slides, but that's okay. Okay. Last year, right? Going back to last year, the first State of the Crew, George treated us to a brief history of the crew. And it was fun to look back at our history as a group. We've been friends for a long time now, a lovely long time now, you might say. And I have so many fond memories of our years together. And I'll be honest, I really miss those high school days. And sometimes I fear that our best days are behind us, that we as a crew have peaked. I mean, come on, those were the golden days. Together in high school, eating lunch in the dojo, making Brownwig weeklies, so that Royden would give us our one view, and whipping around in Matt's Cougar. Yeah, I gotta say, shout out Royden and David, who were our two fans. Yeah. But you guys, those days are over. So this year, we pivot from looking into the past and we look to the future. So what is the future like? Well, in the future, we have a lot of spaceships, right? And spaceships are, they're a lot like friendships because they're both ships. And what else happens in the future? Dolphins are the superior race on planet Earth. But don't worry, guys. The dolphins are cool with humans. We're friends. And don't worry, yeah, we're friends in the future. And so what else happens in the future? Well, eventually the fuel of the sun, hydrogen, will run out. And when this happens, the sun will begin to die. And it will go into a phase of solar death, the star death, a period of 2 to 3 billion years. And And it's going to be cold. And it did occur to me at some point in planning this presentation that I may be looking a little too far into the future. So I thought, let's recalibrate here, right? Let's jump ahead, let's say 20 years. So now, in my preparation for this presentation, I have consulted ChatGPT, a fortune teller, a couple of insurance actuaries, and the great-great-great-granddaughter of Nostradamus. And together, they have helped me predict a vision of the future, which, according to very sophisticated scientific models, has an accuracy of over 97%. Yes, friends, I have essentially predicted the actual future. Has anyone watched Devs? I wrote that before I watched Devs. Zach has. The years, so here we go, guys, 20 years ahead in time. The year is 2044, and Dakota has a fully functioning train set in his basement. Yeah. The year is 2044, and Kevin is still looking for the treasure from the 2023 Utah treasure hunt. The year is 2044. Bambi is still canceled. He knows what he did. It's 2044, and Keenan has 44 children. Matt is the new CEO of Amazon. I ask Matt if he can get me a cushy job at Amazon, and Matt is like, yeah, I'll see what I can do. But then he's kind of weird about it, and he stops answering my calls. Dakota Briggs and his husband George own a lovely bed and breakfast in the English countryside. Zach legally changes his name from Don back to Zach. In the year 2044, joggling is the newest sport in the Olympics, but David Tate is too old to compete. Fantasy author George R.R. Martin, age 95, says, "The Winds of Winter is almost done." The year is 2044, and a few of us regularly visit Shay's tombstone. 44 children. He's so ridiculously oversized. Like, it's not at scale. Okay. Shay's epitaph reads, R.I.P. Shay Stone, taken from this world too soon in the great Jello accident of 2037. In the year 2044, President Mr. Beast announces an ambitious new plan to phase out fossil fuels in the U.S. by 2084. He also says that if the Earth doesn't get cooler anytime soon, he might try doing the Ice Nine thing and freezing Earth's oceans like Kurt Vonnegut suggested in his book, Cat's Cradle. Yeah, Kurt Vonnegut jokes. It's 2044, and we all have back pain. That's kind of true. It's 2044, and the Great Salt Lake is long gone. It is all dried up. In 2044, we would be having the 22nd annual State of the Crew event. But unfortunately, according to these predictions, that event doesn't happen. I find that heartbreaking. According to these predictions, the group more or less drifts apart in the 2030s. Keenan is so busy raising his 44 children that the State of the Crew is the last thing on his mind. And can you blame him? Meanwhile, Conrad has diabetes. Taylor is on his third divorce. Kendra is deaf in one ear and mostly in the other. Royden blocked my number. Jordan joined QAnon. Betos has gone out of business. Steve is in crisis. And for some reason, Subway reinstated Jared Fogle as their spokesperson. Guys, how did we get here? What happened? How did we let this happen? And why did George and Dakota move to England? What happened to Emily? What happened to Lexi? As you can see, many interesting things await us in the future. Some good, some bad, some devastating. But as I've been peeking into the future, I've had a recurring thought. We already live in a version of the future. The future of the past. Today. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the future of the past today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all time travelers, traveling forward in a linear direction, traveling 1 day per day, 1 hour per hour, 1 minute per minute. You know, I remember as a kid wanting a big group of friends. And I remember becoming a teenager and becoming a part of this group, my wolf pack. I remember graduating high school thinking, I don't want us to go our separate ways and lose touch. I want to keep the crew together forever. Because people need to laugh at my PowerPoints. and so I know that the high school me would be very proud of where our group is today. And proud of the future we have created. Would the past me predict that we've done 11 Thanksgiving events? Or that we've discovered, thanks to Bean, that Dakota is the biggest hole? Would the past me have predicted that the present me could eat so much Taco Bell? I get a free taco every day for a month. I could eat Taco Bell every day. I would never get sick of Taco Bell. First taco with the Taco Pass. Liv Moss. I pull up through the drive-thru. It's like, excuse me, do you recognize me? They're like, oh, yeah, you want your free taco? I'm like, yeah, I do. Taco, please. Monday taco, Tuesday taco, Wednesday taco, Thursday taco, Friday taco, Saturday tacos. So good. What you Taco Bell, Will? Liv Moss, yo quiero Taco Bell. And then the Chihuahua goes, burp, burp. Hi, I'm here to Liv Moss.
We have a nacho cheese.
Hey, what's up, Taco Heads? It's your boy. To quote Taco Bell founder Glenn Bell, what's up, Taco Heads? It's your boy. What you talk about, Willis? Zing. Kerchow. I'm gonna Liv Moss up in this bitch, or my name isn't Patrick Taco Lovers Pass Ingwerson. Liv Moss. No way! Yeah! Liv Moss. Step 1, live. Step 2, Moss. It's like taco, and then the next day, like another taco, and then like the next day, like about a lot of NFTs, mostly Taco Bell related stuff. Today's taco fact of the day is, I don't like tacos anymore.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces. I would never get free taco every day. Daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere.
So I look around at our crew today and I think, looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my crewmates. We might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. Teachers and parents said, I bet they'll never make it. But just look at us holding on. We're still together, still going strong. You're still the crew that I run to. The crew that I belong to. You're still the crew I want for life. Is it playing Taco Bell again? Okay. Oh, and
Looks like we made
just small note. It occurred to me when I was listening to this again. The lyrics are like somewhat romantic, but just think about it as like a song about like platonic friendship. You know what I mean? Just friendship among a
looks
group
like
of friends.
we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. Might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. They said, I bet they'll never make it, but just got us holding on. Still going strong. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. You're still the one that I
Hello, I'm your new caretaker. Here?
love. You're still the one I kiss. Good night. We beat the odds together. Glad we didn't listen.
It's August Rush.
Look at what we would be missing. They said, I bet they'll never make
It's a chicken noodle.
but just look at us holding on. Still together, still going strong. You're still the one I run to, the one that I belong. You're still the one I
I'm ready.
What can I say? That video really warms my heart, but thoughts of the future still trouble me. Me and the engineers, don't laugh. Me and the engineers at OpenAI ran test after test on our future prediction models, and we kept getting the same bad predictions again and again. And but you know what? Who can really say? Who can really say what will happen in the future? The future is a mystery, and unless someone from the future personally contacted us, then how can we ever possibly really know the real?
Hey guys, it's me, Future.
Wait, what the heck?
No time to explain, and I only have a second to talk to you guys.
Hold on. You're calling from Skype, not Zoom?
Come back and we use Skype now.
That must have been a pretty major comeback,
Skype
though.
Major comeback. Okay. Now, do you want to hear my message or not? I really only have a second here.
Wait, if you're really me, say something that only I would know. We would know.
Okay. Yeah, we sharded our pants in band class in 7th grade.
What? No. So you're not the real me then? Which that's a weird.
Okay, moving on. Here's what I came to say.
Does the Brownwood Crew ever make Where's Waldo Part 7? Because I'm really waiting.
God, man, just let me say what I need to say.
Okay. My bad. You go for it.
I want you to know that you're all doing just fine. Please keep doing what you're doing. Being there for each other, being creative together, keep doing these things. These are the good old days, the golden age. You may look back at 20 years ago and miss those days, but in 20 more years, you'll be missing these ones. Be good to each other, take care of each other, keep having fun. I promise you that everything will turn out okay. Your predictions of the future, they were trash, by the way, just way off. All of them except the bit about Shay dying in the Great Jello accident of 2037. Also, things get pretty crazy in 2029, but I don't want to spoil anything for you, so you'll just have to wait and see. Okay, that's all I had time to say. Goodbye, friends. I love you.
That was weird, right? That was weird. Is that the really from the future? And at this point, by the way, we're about halfway through my presentation. And so I just wanted to say, if you do get bored and I'm going too long, just remember, you can always look down at your phone and scroll on the internet. If it goes too long. No, I did have more to say, but that jackass interrupted me and he used my remaining time. So to conclude, I guess, good luck, everybody. We have our time in this life together. Let's try not to screw it up.
Hey.
Just a backup recorder.
Okay. I see. All right. 2023 was a year of remarkable achievement. We collectively bore witness to many highs, but as the late great Mr. Ike Newton once said, quote, with this many highs, how's a guy supposed to get a breath of fresh air? Also, shouldn't there be like a corresponding number of lows? Close quote. It is in this spirit that I'd like to begin with the annual review of highlights and lowlights. Let's start with the uppers, shall we? The crew shot several videos, such as BWP News, Please Buy My Barn, and Spicy Boys. Of note, this was David's BWP debut. David and Dakota got aces in disc golf. This was odd considering that poker and disc golf rarely intersect. Pat threw a rager. George had the biggest staff anybody had ever seen, a wizard staff. Matt and Katie hiked Mount Olympus. The gods were delighted to meet them, and they are now honorary members of the Greek pantheon. Zach ate Taco Bell. George finished his book and lived out happily for the rest of his days. Dren created the most punk rock jacket ever worn by any member of the dojo. Some saw this as a sign of a midlife crisis. I, however, saw it as an attempt to fill a flask-shaped hole in his soul. The crew celebrated July 14th, officially known as Mac and Cheese and the Tape Measure Games. One person, who shall remain unnamed, proposed to be called July 34th. We will now take a moment of silence to silently judge this nameless man. Pat got fired from Workman Success Systems. Katie joined the SWAT team, and unrelated, I am a very good boy who abides by the letter and spirit of the law. The crew celebrated a Rico's reunion. Dren joggled exactly 420.69 kilometers. That's actually true. The crew competed in the first ever shotgun chugging disc golf tournament. However, this was regarded by many to be a bad move and will likely not be repeated ever again. Andy Wing did us all a favor and moved 2,000 miles away to Baltimore. Add highlight for Keenan, Matt, Kendra, Lexi, Emily, Kelly, and Kyle. Dakota bought a house with 205 shelves, and that's just counting the ones in the rooms Dakota knows about. Those lights were sure were high, weren't they, gang? Unfortunately, for every climb up to the summit of Mount Doom, there's an equally long way down into its fiery depths. It's time for the lowlights. Dakota bought a house with 205 shelves, but no train. George got weirdly into jazz and got a job. Don't worry, he already quit the job. And the jazz part too. We didn't do darts. George and Dakota certainly didn't get together by themselves. Secret darts involving home run derbies, watching the B movie, and doing blood oaths, among other shenanigans. There was no 24-hour gaming party, and there may never be one again. The Jazz kind of sucks this year, and Utah's professional basketball team didn't do that great either. Well, the 2023 treasure hunt was a fucking disaster. We'd like to take a moment and say, fuck you, Jackie, for ruining the Utah treasure hunt for millions of people. Also of note, the crew was unusually invested in the treasure hunt. On the record, we didn't win, but Kevin made his own better treasure hunt, and it was super cool. Off the record, Kevin had an insane obsession with the treasure hunt this year. People were super worried, and he completely ruined the summertime Discord channel. Moving on, Pat was unemployed for several months and enjoyed getting high in his underoos. Matt is still blue balling us by not posting his first picture on Instagram. I'm sure it's going to drop someday and could be legendary, but as for now, our balls are all aching. Most of the crew, we got Lagoon passes this season, which sounds like a highlight, but we never got together and did a crew Lagoon day, so that sucked. Shame on Riley Roberts for planning a barbecue for us and then canceling it at the last minute. Fucking shithead. Pat hosted a perfectly nice and respectable Thanksgiving party until someone pooped in his tub. The culprit is still out there, folks. Shame on Kevin for naming his baby whatever it was he named his baby. There was a brutal fight over flasks in the Discord D&D group. I know there are still some hard feelings, so I guess I'll just leave it at that. I'd also like to say RIP Steve Harwell, most known for being the lead singer of 3 iconic bands, Smash Mouth, ICP, and Limp Bizkit. RIP guy, Flavortown will never be the same without you. Pat's microphones were lost for the second year in a row at the State of the Crew. George wrote an awesome book, but no one here was included in the dedication. Just give you all a moment to let that sink in. Dakota still has not been over to my house. Hey, buddy, there's an after party, just so you know. I was awarded singles last place, and it's a bit whatever. I don't care. But most of all, I think goes without saying that the lowest of lights was the loss of several of the comrades we had this past year. Right now, we'd like to take a moment to recognize our fallen comrades, their service to the crew, and the memories we made together. I would like to remind people not to laugh at this video. It's not a joke. It's very serious.
Every year, several of our friends leave the Discord due to neglect, abuse, and harsh anti-conservative messages, crying out for help. Please call the number on your screen right now to make a monthly gift. For just $18 a month, only 60 cents a day, you'll help rescue our friends from their abusers and provide them with comforting messages. Call or join online in the next 30 minutes and you'll receive a welcome kit with a photo of a lost friend right now. One who's been given a second chance thanks to you. Right now, there's a friend about to leave the Discord who needs you. Your call says, "I'm here to help." Please call right now. 1-800-69-69-24/7 69 420 BLAZE /Discord. Matthew Williams. Last words. That Riley Roberts is a real piece of shit. Dakota Ray Briggs. Last words. I think I'm just gonna take a break for a little while. Andrew Wing. Last words. Guys, I really like this Discord thing. I think I'll stick around. Crew D&D campaign. Last words. Congrats at Shayman. You have successfully stolen at Dren's flask. Jesse Lynn Williams. Last words. I just don't understand why saying is such a big deal, you guys.
They are missed. All right. Apart from that summary of events, I must also give a chronological accounting of our yearly holidays and traditions, and as will be recorded in the Holy Writ, also known as the officially contested consensus of events. As everybody obviously knows, our first holiday of the year is getting together to write summer goals on the first Jazz playoff game after the first full moon that occurs after the spring equinox when the most crew members are available. This year, the crew assembled together at Jesse's house to happily write goals with a newfound confidence, knowing they didn't have to worry about the threat of King's Peak anymore. Lots of lofty goals were set, few were accomplished. For the first time ever, darts was missed out on entirely. On the record, this was totally fine and intentional and happens all the time. Off the record, we were waiting for Pat, Matt, and Kevin to plan it. I mean, it was their holiday originally, right? Just asking questions. But as a fun statistic, it is worth noting that in our 7, possibly 8 years of darts, we have opened up so many timelines that with different activities on the dartboard that if we do 2 more years of darts, we will have opened more timelines than the number of atoms that make up planet Earth. For reference, we have opened 555 duodecillion, 469 undecillion, 548 decillion, 703 nonillion, 148 octillion, 271 septillion, 970 sextillion, 513 quintillion, 823 quadrillion, 146 trillion, 899 billion, 839 million, 999,993 timelines, or roughly 5 followed by 41 zeros. Either way, the number is still smaller than Pat's balls. This year, the group decided to run it back to Idaho for the disc golf road trip. There were more people than ever before, which made for a great party van. However, the group had to split into 2 vehicles, one of which was dubbed the Matt Williams Fartmobile. It was hypothesized that Dakota and Lexi were probably cousins. This, of course, it depends on your definition of probably, if your definition of probably is as loose as J-Dog's is on Urban Dictionary. A great time was had by all, despite the crew being eaten alive by mosquitoes, but other highlights of the trip included cleaning the sink at Angie's with Cam, free lunch provided by Dakota and Lexi's grandma, a flurry of cotton that made it look like it was snowing in July, some weird pizza in Idaho Falls, and of course, driving home while listening to the traditional "I thought I farted, but I shit" to Emily's unending delight. Per last year's State of the Crew, the cabin trip is now an annual tradition. When we first arrived, things seemed chill. Too chill, some might say. It wasn't long before we found ourselves gathered around the fire, indulging in Dakota's big brain idea to cook popcorn over an open flame. We can all agree that this was a great success and that no one was horrifically injured. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before the peaceful tranquility of our group is known for was interrupted by a shadow, seemingly drawn forth by the smell of our freshly popped corns. A demonic entity calling himself Chris inserted himself into our evening, displaying the balls, but not the candor of the Ingberson clan, of which he claimed to be a part of. Before long, we were unwillingly regaled with dissertations on horse sex and his clear imperviousness to the effects of alcohol. The good times were seemingly over. Some went as far as expressing a wish that Fred was there. After retreating to the sweet sanctuary of sleep, we awoke to some confusing dynamic between Bean and Dakota that remains confusing to this day. Dakota was labeled the biggest hole, and we moved on to building the best damn dam in cabin history, and there was no hard feelings. For the first time ever, the annual Just Playing Baseball for George's birthday Labor Day event was nearly rained out, despite Spicy T deciding not to come because a Facebook invite doesn't count as a real invite. And I need to go see Barbie, even though I've seen it already. Seriously, it's really important that I go see this with this girl I'm not even going to marry, even though it's been out for months. And seeing it tomorrow on a $5 Tuesday makes a hell of a lot more sense and would save me about $3.50 per ticket. Also, did I mention it's super important that I go during the baseball game, even though it's Labor Day, so I had the whole day off and could have gone any time that day? Anyways, as per usual, and not without scrutiny of conspiracy, there was a lack of a salary cap. The Birthday Boys team was stacked. On the record, the game was evenly matched. Off the record, the game was more lopsided than Pat's very low-hanging balls. Also, David tried to ruin the integrity of the whole damn event by trying not to pick Pat last, which honestly he still deserves to get some shit for. In the end, the crisis was averted with crafty trades involving a stipulation that Pat would technically be picked last. Anyways, despite these two and complete and utter blunders, the game went well. Matt hit a dinger off a tee and tried to fight the other team between innings. The snacks were great. Dren made Dren cookies that he claimed were awesome, but Matt insisted were just all right.
I never wanted to be captain.
On a brisk October day, the Spooky Spoopy 5, the Spoopy Strikes Back, disc golf tournament was played at the Freedom Hills course. Surprising nobody this year, the Ingbersons were yet again not on time. Great controversy ran through the event, possibly because the tournament director didn't specifically pick holes that favored George. The director was later quoted saying, "That bitch needs to learn how to throw backhand." There was some controversy about a misplay on the final hole, which, due to the public outrage of an angry chanting mob, extended the sudden death playoff. On the record, Pat didn't get last place. Off the record, Pat totally bribed Dakota to tank harder than his left testicle, just so he could save some dignity in front of friends and family. For the second year in a row, Thanksgiving took place at the Ingberson residence. While many found the feng shui questionable, many agreed the bathroom was delightful sanctuary. Well, for part of the evening anyways. Others questioned the choice to have a hands-on Thanksgiving. There was no dishes, flatware, cups, or drinks, leaving all in attendance to revert to their base nature, eating and drinking caveman style. Many said that this is a sign of Thanksgiving entering its final form. Sadly, George's asshole was once again not in attendance. On the other hand, there was absolutely no Jell-O, nor any Jell-O-related accidents. George, sans asshole, seemed to have a lot of questions about Pat's tub. The evening wrapped up with delight and cheer when all attendees participated in a Thanksgiving jam session. Emily and Lexi's excellent composition really tied a bow on the present that was this holiday. This year, the fantasy football season was a rousing competitive one. On the record, everybody was totally locked in and always updated their lineups. Off the record, Kevin was a glorified bye week for 12 weeks out of the season. James peaked at the right time to win his first championships against Kyle's team. If Kyle makes the finals and loses next year, he officially has to change his team renamed to the 1990s Buffalo Bills. It's okay, Matt gets it. Speaking of Matt, drafting an entire Cowboys roster finally didn't let him down, but the rest of his team did, causing him to barely miss out on the second finals appearance. Dakota's team went Super Saiyan to make the playoffs and then did fuck all after that. George's team was ass, but ended the season with 5 straight games over 100 points when it mattered the least, as he had already locked himself into the postseason in 9th place slot. While Katie found herself in the toilet bowl, she was never truly worried about winning it. Kevin, on the other hand, secured his fourth toilet bowl in dominant fashion, forever being dubbed the Inger Bowl. This year did see a few changes. Kelly took over for Jesse and finally got to draft her own team. And another guy named Matt took over for Trevor. This is the end of recounting the yearly holiday portion of the speech. It has been proposed that the previously mentioned writings shall now be officially added to the Holy Writ. All in favor, please manifest it. Any opposed, shove it up your ass. Usually we would reserve this time for addressing criticisms of the crew and potential problems within our friend group. However, we are pleased to announce that not a single disparaging remark was made about us all year. And take that, Trevor, you bitch. I hope you die in a Jell-O-related accident someday. So that's our year in review. But we didn't all come here just to look back at the good times. We also need to look forward. Now, I can hear your collective internal groaning. Shay, you say, haven't we heard enough of the dulcet tones of your voice, you say? Well, I have one last important piece of business of which to speak. We picked this year's theme as the future. This was no accident. These last 8 years have been tough for us all. The inherently pessimistic nature of our generation has been validated. Our darkest fears in one iteration or another have come to pass. So it has become easier to give credence to those feelings of hopelessness, of ennui, of a total lack of confidence in the species as a whole. These years have made it easy to justify withdrawal from the world at large, to hunker down and shut out the sun in favor of the private light of our own candles. However, as I look back through this list, the highlights and lowlights of our crew, I can't help but think with the love, the energy, and the mule-headed stubbornness we possess in aggregate, there's no problem we cannot address and no crisis we could not aid in. My friends, 2024 is a crossroads. Will we choose the path of fear, or will we be an active force for change in this ever-volatile world? It is in this spirit that I'm proposing a truly monumental project. This project, if enacted, could serve as a great symbol of hope, not only to the nation, but to the world itself. If we embark on this endeavor, we will be sending a message to all humankind. That message, why can't you all be cool? Why can't you be like us? I invite you to cast your minds across the great wilderness of South Dakota. There, in your mind's eye, think of a great monument. I am, of course, talking about the famous Mount Rushmore. So, what's the absolute worst aspect of this monument? Is it that it is in South Dakota? Is it that it bears the visages of 2 slave owners alongside that of one whose most important accomplishment was the abolition of slavery? Or is it that it is on land that rightfully belongs to the people of the Lakota Nation? No, the biggest issue lies in the measure of its scope. Had the builders really been serious, they would have made a monument not just to 4 of our nation's presidents, but to all 45. But Shay, Richard, you say, what has this to do with us, you say? Don't worry, I'm getting to it. What I'm proposing is that we build our own monument to serve as a light and an example to all the nations of this pale blue dot we call home. A monument that is akin to Mount Rushmore in scale, but depicting the likenesses of each and every one of us here today. All the downtrodden masses will look upon it and feel the kindling flame of hope in their hearts. It will usher in a new era of peace and healing. But Shay, Richard, Dick, you say, carving a mountain of rock takes literal generations. How can such a feat be accomplished, you say? Well, what if I were to tell you there's a material out there, one that is not only easily carved and structurally sound, but also serves as an homage to the great state we all call home? I speak, of course, of Jell-O. What I am... What I'm proposing is that we amass a literal mountain of Jell-O and then proceed to carve it upon it our visages. If we move forward with this, my calculations predict that we could reach completion by around 2037. But Shay, Richard, Dick, Stoney, you say, aren't you afraid of being crushed beneath a thinly veiled metaphor for your own hubris, you say? And didn't you use the same rhetorical device in your last year's speech, you say? To that I answer, don't think about it. The premise might be as shaky as a fresh tray of Jell-O, but I invite you to look forward to a new dawn, one where the sun might rise and her rays be refracted by a gelatinous mass of hope, of progress, and the enduring nature of friendship in the face of time's relentless storm. Thank you.
Oh, that's not the right flag. Just a quick thanks to everybody who gave speeches today. Refrigerator, thank you. Pat, tried.
I already did that joke to you.
Everybody else, great job. Now, for everything that you've been waiting for, the second ever Tank Skivvies. This is a serious award show. And I want you all to take this seriously. That being said, all right, our first award for the night is, oh wait, actually, before we get started, y'all complained to me so much last year that we had to write our votes down. Woo! Please scan this so that you can vote from home.
What kind of digital effects do you use, Zach? How does the PTZ camera thin the hair?
How is she prematurely busting?
And if anybody needs to see while people are signing into this, go ahead.
Who are you voting Kelly's messing it up.
Is that?
You talking about some pictures?
Yeah, it's like a. I don't think this website being this much.
Huh?
Yeah. I can vote for like 5 minutes. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
It's yellow. Maybe that's like my. Oh, pressing it. Is yours not? I think yours is also like.
Now that you say that, you can
Fireworks.
This is great. This is great. I love fire.
Thanks for your witch's brew, Dakota.
Oh, no.
You should be seeing the screen that says the Thanksgiving.
With fire?
Let's get started. Like I had said, this is a serious event. This is serious. So our first award. Oh, best host of the second Thanksgiving. I wonder who this could be. Dakota Bricks.
Here, here.
Dax. Raptor. For Sunny Dizzle. All right. You should be able to vote now.
Vote for what? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Sunny Dizzle.
Can we get a volunteer to read out who won?
Kyle, 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 Kyle. I'll read it. I'm gonna read the award. There we go. What's the name of the award?
Best host of the second Thanksgiving.
Best host of the second Thanksgiving. Groundwave Production has declared Raptor.
I didn't think I was gonna win, to be completely honest with you guys. But it really means a lot that you guys voted for me. Well, one of me. Thanks. Our next award of the night is. And you might ask yourself, didn't you do this joke last time? No. We did something similar. Jesse Williams. It was Dick. Zach Allred. Is Dick. Like, that's a joke, guys. Kevin Ingerson. It might just actually be Kevin. Here's the thing. I think you should vote for Pat. He's told me multiple times that he donates to like the KKK. But you can vote if you want now. That was a close negotiation.
We change our vote.
No.
Good. Stop the room. I'm going to trust them.
Has everybody voted? Anybody not voted, I guess is what I should say. Hey, David, will you come read this?
And the winner of Dick of the Year is Patrick Ingerson.
Y'all are mean.
Call the helpline.
Now, I know this is the one that everybody actually came for. This is coldest take. So what this is you've come up with an opinion that other people don't agree with. So what you're going to be voting for, you can vote up to 3, is you're going to be voting for the one that you don't agree with the most. So if somebody says, hey, like, I like Dakota, and you're like, I hate Dakota, that's the one you're voting for.
Which one is that?
You'll find out. So let's go through these.
Hey kids, Dakota here. Just letting you know that if you're going to the Pie Pizzeria in the future, maybe reconsider getting that pepperoni. It's not the best option they've got. Look, I get it. People are going to say pepperoni's tried and true. It's the classic. But have you considered that maybe it might be, like a little overdone? Might even call it boring. I like it, but honestly, it's not even like top 4, top 5 for me.
I mean, take like combo pizza. That's freaking good. Buffalo chicken ranch, really good. I mean, you can get crazy and even go Hawaiian if you wanted to. Look, go ahead and just keep ordering pepperoni. But if you want to take a bite out of the wild slice, try something else next time. Here's the thing, I don't disagree with him. Will it work?
What's up, it's your boy Keenan. My cold take for 2023.
Take it off.
Pedro Pascal is in too many things. 2023 was definitely too many things for that guy. And probably the best thing he did, in my opinion, was the first season of a show where he didn't show his face. And now at this point, he's not even in that show really, other than he records some lines. Is that why it's better or worse? Because it sucks now. But also, so does Pedro Pascal. Last of Us wasn't great either.
Just need to know how many Scorsese films he has seen and if the number is 1 of 1.
Hey, this is Dan, and my hot take is that I don't think Mario Kart is a very good video game. Honestly, like, especially as a racing games fan, I don't think Mario Kart is a very good racing game. For starters, I don't think the core gameplay is good. It just does not feel satisfying to play in terms of vehicle handling or physics, stuff like that. I think the track design is bad. The tracks feel more like obstacle courses than race tracks. I'm just not really having any fun when I'm driving on most of those tracks. And on top of that, I think there's too much RNG. I think there's too much randomization. The game feels more like a slot machine than a racing game. And because of that, it has a weirdly low skill ceiling. Like it almost actively punishes you for being too good at the game. You know, you could be doing really well out in first place, and then suddenly some weapon that you have no defense against, comes up and switches up the order of the game and puts you in fifth. It's just, I think that's kind of dumb. I'm not really a fan of that. Now, if you ask me what the most well-designed kart racing game is, that game would be Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, Mwah, absolute perfection. Thanks. See you guys.
I don't like memes.
And if you were
Hello there. Kelly here. My hot take, or I guess it's a cold take, I don't know. It's a take. It or leave it. But is I think Pop-Tarts suck. Okay? I don't know how people can just like get out of bed and be like, I want to eat this. This is so gross. This does nothing for me, okay? Like, just to take an example of how they put the frosting on, they didn't even do it right. And that's like probably the most edible part. But yeah, you got just a crappy, nasty edge all the way around that nobody wants to eat. So like, obviously I take all that around. Maybe the middle is edible, but like, no, not a strawberry fan. And you're like, oh, just try the s'mores. Try the blueberry. You know what's better than a Pop-Tart or a s'mores Pop-Tart? Blueberries. S'mores. This ain't it, okay? It's breakfast garbage is what it is.
Here, I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I know what I'm voting. It's Kelly.
What's up? It's your boy Keenan.
I don't like memes.
There are 3 slides of this, just so y'all know.
Barbie was the best movie of the year.
Watch it burn.
My name is Zach Allred, and my take is that I don't see an issue with Hollywood churning out mass market films like the superhero flicks or the live action Disney remakes or anything of that sort. Like, it may be a cash grab, but can you blame them? Their business is making money. And, you know, at the crew level, I do think that like people making these films genuinely care about the quality of the film and they want it to be good and something they can be proud of. I think in a lot of cases they are really good films. Like, not everything, but you know, generally people like these movies. That's why they're mass market. And if people like them, then I don't see the problem.
Hi, my name is David Tate, and I have so many excellent movie takes that I could not narrow it down to just one. So here are my top 3 movie takes of the year. Number 1, Dragon Wars D-War looks lit. Number 2, Three Amigos is a funny movie. And number 3, Fast X is the most entertaining movie ever created. I couldn't even see it. It just looks lit.
My name's George. And I hate everything about this.
If you guys didn't get it, a little too big brain for somebody. He doesn't like the song "Believe" by Cher. I think we can probably skip this one actually.
Hey guys, Patrick here. My hot take this year, and this is something I've been meaning to actually kind of bring up with the group for a while. Roasting people on their wedding day, roasting the groom, it's tasteless, it's classless, not cool, bad move, below the belt. People shouldn't do it. If somebody did do that, they should feel bad. And if you're gonna roast someone, like if somebody asks you like, "Hey, roast me at my wedding," but then toast me after, then like you should probably do that because like I think what they were like really asking if they had said that would be like, "I want you to toast me." Like do a little bit of roasting and then like toast me. Like it's like a special day for me. Like if somebody said that. So anyway, that's my.
Hi, it's Emily. My cold take is that the Pleasant Grove Vikings are the better Vikings as opposed to the Pleasant Grove was first and they were blue as opposed to the pink Vikings in Viewmont. And I think that we've all been out of high school long enough that it's okay for people to just say it.
What?
Cardinal red and gold.
Vegas.
That's good.
To be clear, Pleasant Grove was first. So ours.
We both, you don't have to talk.
Steve here. My take is that double stuffed Oreos are inferior in every way to original Oreos.
Yeah.
Ratio is totally messed up, too sweet, not enough of that bitter chocolate flavor. Thanks.
Ooh, amen.
To be clear, they're still delicious. They're just not as good.
Honestly, I think it's pretty wild how mellow of a dude Osama bin Laden comes across as. You know? Like, he seems like the kind of dude you'd go have a beer with after yoga, you know, hit the shisha with. Like, he just never, he never looks like upset. He just always looks like he's chilling. You know, like, yeah, he might be holding like his AK-47, but he must take self-care seriously. Dude seems grounded. Yeah, it just seems like super. Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Kendra. My hot take is that Pat should get over getting roasted at our wedding. Laugh for it, and that shit was funny.
I've never seen a video I agree more with.
Hey there, guys. This is Trevor Williams. Anyway, did I mention I love my job? Well, my coldest take is that Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby is a better song than Under Pressure by David Bowie and Queen. I love my job, by the way. When are you guys moving out to DC? Come visit me. No, I won't come visit you. You should all come out and see me. Bye.
Hey team. Thinking about my most controversial opinion is tough. I could think of something like The Office is overrated. Same with Parks and Recs. But really, all I want to do right now is complain about work. The other day, I was on LinkedIn and I saw a post debating what value is, and it had a whole thread of people are just up their own asses about what value represents. Like, haven't we lost the plot a little bit when we're at that point that we have to debate what value is? And I was on a one-on-one with my boss the other day talking about my annual performance. And he said, let's keep driving towards things that make impact. And that's just another, like, what are we doing here, guys? We're talking about impact, values, and I don't know, it just seems like we've all lost the thread a little bit in the software world, at least, and we're just smelling our own farts, I guess. Anyway, excited to be with you guys.
It's funny because my wife also talks about impact as well.
Guys, what's up? It's Matthew here, coming at you with a hot, I guess it's not really a hot take, but anyway, letting you guys all know that I think McDonald's chicken nuggets actually taste better cold. In fact, I don't even want to stop there. I think chicken in general just tastes fantastic cold. Like, I'm not talking raw, but like if you throw your leftovers in the fridge, you know, chicken nuggets, fried chicken, grilled chicken, strips, doesn't matter what it is. Instead of popping that in the microwave, just pull that right out, eat it cold. You got yourself a meal. Anyway, thanks guys.
Y'all can start voting now. There is like a little summary of each one. Vote for 3.
Yeah, put up the summary.
Oh, no, get the votes.
Oh, cool.
Tough.
Are all the votes worth the same?
I lost a little. Maybe we can send you.
It's okay.
I'll send you.
So put it in order for us.
I did put them in order as well.
All right. Even in lots of those things. Do you want to split?
I agree with everyone. Just vote for yourself 3 times. Dan's the one that was actually wrong.
You could do that.
Well,
We can vote for 3. 3.
Hey, while you guys are voting, have you guys heard about how much Trevor loves his job?
I see.
That's why I'm thinking of getting a job at the NSA.
That was good.
More thumbs up is that.
The more times I what?
Right.
Okay, is anybody not voting?
Me.
Okay, hurry up.
Well, okay, just one
Jesus,
second.
my selection.
I just don't see them all.
Nice.
Pretty fun.
I've been spamming it.
Kev, let me know when you're done.
Is that what it said?
Yes.
If I hit something,
Okay, is anybody not voting?
Right. I think you use. You're just bad at language. Yeah. People that are good.
Jordan.
I said me and you said yeah.
Sit down. Go.
I'm so embarrassed.
It's not but it's also free, right? Like it's
Jordan.
So 2024 coldest take, one winner, even though we've shut up for free. Makes sense if you don't think about it too hard. Winner is Emily Briggs.
Wait, forgot who is house.
What was that word?
Who is that house?
Yeah.
Who's house?
Who's house?
We want to know who had.
Okay, so in first place was Emily, followed lost by, or second place by one vote was Keenan with Pedro Pascal. There was a two-way tie between Dan's Mario Kart opinion and Kelly's Pop-Tarts opinion. I would vote Pop-Tarts.
We got a big vote on
Fourth,
Recount.
the next closest was Shay and not liking memes, followed by a three-way tie for Zach's Marvel is not ruining Hollywood, Steve and Double Stuffed Oreos, and Kendra's Pat.
Are they still, is the computer
Needs to
still
get
on
upgraded.
numbers on math?
And then the one that didn't get any votes. So the warmest take is David.
Oh.
Yeah, no votes for David.
We knew
That's
we
that.
needed to. You're all invited to my house to watch Dragon Wars Steam War.
I want to see him. I mean, see him again.
Okay. Oh no, here we go again.
Steve here.
Okay, we're good. Okay. Best creative project. We've got Shay's mini woodworks. If you don't know, Shay does woodwork. These are all some of his woodwork.
You can't tell they're all pipes.
Please, nobody vote for this one. We can't deal with this anymore. George's book. And David's punk jacket. Voting should be allowed.
That's our
I got my graph. This is that's you gotta change the future. So
I didn't even know change.
after we done reading the I didn't read Joe. Okay.
I came broken down.
We'll just all share.
I voted for
Oh.
Are you guys
Short
all the little things like that? That is that.
Short pencils usually better.
I think what's that?
Oh, like,
Yeah. For my team.
Kendra. Kendra, you know there.
That's my counterpoint.
All right.
Oh,
Award for best creative project goes to George.
Those are all just pity votes because nobody bothered to read it. I did read George's book cover to cover.
Speech.
Speech.
I read it with cover.
I did read some of it. Okay, so just a preface here. Toxic trait of the year. So what this is in the Discord, there was a question of the day that was asked, what is going to be your toxic trait for 2023? Only like 7 or 8 people responded because it was kind of a dumb question. Whoever posted the question should feel bad about themselves. What you're voting for in this is who did the best job doing their toxic trait.
oh, like who succeeded in the.
Yeah, who succeeded the most? Hi, I'm Dakota Briggs, and my toxic trait is gaslighting my wife.
And Travis Kelce are still dating.
Taylor Swift doesn't exist, babe.
So there's that one.
My name's Shay Stone, and my toxic trait is being mean to kids.
Hi, my name is Zach Allred, and my toxic trait for the year is mooching off of people. I'm Tate, and I have so many toxic traits that I have to narrow it down to just one, and that is throwing off the tee whenever the hell I want, regardless of the outcome of the last hole.
My name's George Williams. My toxic trait is that if you can't handle me at my diddliest, you don't deserve me at my doodliest. Hey there, guys. This is Trevor Williams. Anyway, did I mention I love my job? Well, my toxic trait is a year of being me. I love my job, by the way. When are you guys moving out to DC? Come visit me. No, I won't come visit you. You should all come out and see me. Bye.
He's like, "Hey, you should come live here."
Here, my toxic trait this year, and this is something that I've been meaning to actually kind of bring up with the group for a while, is kink shaming. Everyone. Classy, cool, good move, above the belt. People should do it. If somebody did do that, they should feel good. And if you're gonna kink shame somebody, like if somebody asks you to, like, hey, kink shame me on my wedding, but then continue to kink shame me after that, then like you should probably do that, because like I think what they were like really asking, if they had said that, would be like, I want you to kink shame me a little, like do a little bit of kink shaming, and then like kink shame me more. Like, it's like a special day for them. Like if somebody said that. So anyway, that's my. Steve here. My toxic trait is attacking everybody's favorite pastimes so much that they leave the conversation.
Ace here. My toxic trait this year, I guess, is somehow get my skin to produce toxins like a newt. Which, as you can see, I have done. I am now a newt. Okay, back to newting around.
Honestly, I think my toxic trait of this year would be a year of deep hidden resentment for others, for the unspoken expectations that I place upon myself and then predictably fail to meet, followed by a false internal dichotomy that I am forever trapped between the mundane tasks of everyday life and my deep human yearning for a meaningful existence, culminating in an overwhelming and impeding sense that a single trivial failure will cause everything to unravel and fall apart, revealing to my loved ones and myself the fraud I truly am.
I can't satisfy any woman.
This one.
Satisfy any woman.
Okay. Just a reminder, the vote is for who you think did the best. You have 3 votes. Again.
Yeah, anyone's got a fortune cookie box?
I just ate one, and my fortune was there's no such thing as tomorrow. You only have today. So I think your theme is must have. I really don't know like who did this.
Toxic movie. It was themselves. But that's not. Wait, what? You don't have to go for three.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to play the game.
Wait, did it take
Yeah,
it?
just got moved.
Did you get my vote?
I do.
I had three.
Don't think you figured
That's mine.
Oh,
Thanks.
I did it there and then it took me
Yeah,
back.
more words, but I can't think of them.
The thing about Austin was they always run it in. You know?
You already reminded. Oh, we're-
Anybody not vote yet?
You don't have to. What?
Hey, Shay, you want to?
He doesn't like memes.
Yeah.
Goes to Kevin.
Speech.
That's not an
Yeah. They didn't keep it short.
I only pretend to be insecure because I know that it's endearing to people.
You fooled me.
Hey, just so everyone's aware, that is the end of the voted awards. So you don't need to be on Mentimeter anymore.
It's telling me to sign up though.
Yeah. No, stop.
Why are you doing for that shit?
Don't do it.
Okay, this is one best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This award is if Jesse shows up, he gets it. If not, it goes to Dan.
Run down.
Well.
Here?
Guys, I don't think they're coming.
That's a good I'd like to dedicate this award to Richard Siegel, without whom I would not be in this group of friends.
Sure. Sure. Jesse versus Danny Mom.
Not to bring that up again.
Guys, this one might be a little confrontational. I don't know who's gonna win this one.
Jesse versus Danny.
Here's the thing. I just want to know that Pat has been claiming fraudulently that he's the nucleus. Much like Zach,
never said that.
I also took action. I polled a lot of people. I think you're not gonna like what's gonna come here. Oh.
The dog might be.
When I taught science class, we always taught that the nucleus was the most important part of a cell.
All right.
And That's right. It feels good.
Look, here's the thing. We've had a lot of fun tonight, guys.
That's where the protein's in the intro.
Hey, Kevin. Kevin, you had your time, bud. And you abused it. It's completely fair. No, we've had a lot of fun, but there is something that has really set a bad tone in our crew. And I know this has really affected Pat and Kendra.
This is Richie Stone, one of a kind, private eye. I have two good friends. One is named Jones and it keeps me on my feet, and the other doesn't need a name and it keeps the thugs on their toes. This is just a story about how me and my two chums solved the case involving a tub, a fast food themed house party, and a mysterious but literal piece of shit. Hey, mister. What'd you do that for? Listen, bud, they told me you were good, and I don't mess around. Someone pooped in a very important tub, and I need you to find out who did it. Why should I help you? If you can't tell me who shit in Pat's tub at Thanksgiving, then, well, maybe you're the one who shit. She had a point. I started with the usual suspects.
I've been in the bathroom for the last few hours.
Hours? What's going on in there?
I'm just licking the bowl.
Okay.
Keeping it cool, you know?
David, you been to the bathroom yet, dude?
Hell no.
He was clean, but maybe he knew who did it. Kevin would be a prime suspect.
Well,
Kevin, you been to the bathroom yet tonight, dude?
Honestly, don't even know where the bathroom is.
I'm not saying...
Okay, here's what's wild. Here's what's wild. No.
He reminded me of Stone Cold Steve Austin with how hard he was stonewalling me. Like a stone cold walling Steve... Stonewall Jackson.
Drop some dumpage.
That caught my attention. Where are you gonna drop it?
On the coats.
A troublemaker to be sure, but I could cross him off the list. There were very few, if any, coats in the tub at the time of the crime. But there were a few more troublemakers around who certainly had been up to no good lately. Liam, you been to the bathroom yet, dude?
No.
I had just moved on to some other suspects when something interesting happened. Either you guys been to the bathroom tonight? I was gonna ask you if you... Oh, Liam has. You notice anything weird about the bathroom?
Yeah, there's a sign above the toilet.
How does it smell? Does it smell okay?
It smells fine.
How long were you in there, just out of curiosity?
Like a minute or two.
Well, which was it? Seemed like he was already backpedaling on his story about not using the bathroom. Something seemed off. I needed to see the scene of the crime, to look for clues. Anything the police might have missed in their report. On the way, I ran into Scumbag Steve. How was the bathroom? It was terrible. It was terrible? Did it smell bad? I'm not saying it was your fault.
No, definitely was my fault. I got Sky here. So.
Right on. Yeah, so nothing weird about the bathroom?
No.
Did you look in the tub at all?
I did not.
Okay, that's alright. Thank you. Scumbag Steve clearly had something to hide. But what? I decided to ask around. Have you been to the bathroom yet?
No, dude. Come on. Number one.
You went number one?
That's the first one in the bathroom.
Going number two. Where did you do the number two? Just out of curiosity. That wink caught my attention. He was a dame, to be sure, and a flirtatious one at that. The only thing I could do was flirt back and see what I could get out of him. I'll have what he's having. He was on to me. Before I could say lickety-split, he ran. He was gone for good. Back to the drawing board. Matt, you been to the bathroom yet, dude?
Yeah. Overestimated.
How'd it go?
All I know is that life is really short, so I decided to lick the bowl.
It seemed like everyone in this town knew something, but nobody would budge. No crime has happened yet?
Oh, it has.
Oh,
it has.
David, you seem to know a lot about it.
I'm gonna crime all over these carne asada fries.
Oh. But David had already cleared his name by admitting to shitting on the coats, and assaulting fries isn't a crime, at least where I'm from. But then it hit me, the guy I least suspected. Could the host of the party be my guy? Dancing awfully close to the bathroom. Is that a little weird? Is that a poo-poo dance?
I don't know what that means.
What did you do in there?
I don't know what that means, and I will not.
Lie.
I will not.
Don't lie, Pat.
Although his face said he was innocent, his poo-poo dance said otherwise. I needed to go see my good buddy James, the poo-poo dance expert. But on the way, I saw a familiar face. I needed some answers, and I needed them now.
Looking cute. What did you see?
In a Lovecraft-esque way. Like, it's so scary I can't even describe it, you know?
Did you see who pooped in the tub?
It's like so dark, like it would break your brain to describe it.
Okay.
I could tell he knew something. Who was he protecting? He might be a dame, but he was no snitch. Back in those days, being a snitch was a surefire way to wake up to a giant dookie in your bed. Until they outlaw loyalty, this dame's only crime was being too sexy.
Did you see who pooped in the tub?
I did.
Who was it?
I can't say though, because they gave me $20, but it rhymes with.
What did it rhyme with? But I never saw Dakota ever again. Someone who heard him running off his mouth. Someone who didn't like what they heard. And just like that, the case had gone cold again. The only way I was going to solve this case is if the pooper just came out and admitted it.
So David, did you go number 1 or number 2 in the tub?
He tried to distract me with cute pictures of his 2 boyfriends.
Cool.
So that's how the case was solved and I got money to pay my rent. That's the story of how I caught the Thanksgiving pooper. This is Richie Stone, and this case is closed.
Both? Interesting.
Not gonna expect that ending.
Well, I think we've come to a conclusion.
So baseball, huh? So the Braves are really good this year. Oh fuck, the season hasn't even started. I guess my speech will just be revealing a number for those of you who are interested.
Oh yeah. $3,000.
Two.
Five.
One.
Three.
Okay.
A plus
This
sign.
number is the time it took me to run a 10K while juggling. While juggling. This number is the time it took me to run a 10K, the exact route, without juggling.
7. 0. 1. Longer. 0.
6.
-1.
0.
8.
What?
I run faster juggling.
That's 2 more slotting time.
That's geometry. The way how the balls are moving keeps you. It's how gyroscopes work.
It's actually just because I hate juggling I hate juggling was fast.
I hate juggling. That's correct.
I hate running. That's why Can you say that louder? I hate running.
David, this isn't gonna excuse you from this. Hey, everybody, that was it. Thanks for coming. We'd like to close out tonight with a sing-along tribute to the future. It is mandatory, and I will be blocking the door. And I will be watching to see if you guys are singing or not. If you're not singing, I will start it over. This is not a joke. This is very serious.
And in my mind, I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending on land, staring at the blank page before you. Open up the door and rain down. Sun illuminate the world for you. Cannot find you. There's something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibition, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Yeah. I break tradition. Sometimes my tries are outside the line. We've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the way where you can find me. So close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the rest of you. Can I find Jesus? Something in your distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten. Still unwritten.
We're all tuning in, so we don't have to restart it. No, really though. Thanks for coming, everyone. This crew means the world to me. And I love you all so very deeply. You guys really make a guy feel special.
And that's how the State of the Crew ended. And everybody had a fun night, and everybody got home safely. Years passed, and the crew continued to have fun times together. Kevin went on to become the vice principal at Copper Mountain Middle. And despite looking like this, he never killed anyone. Royden is still holding GME stock. Steve moved to Boise, Idaho after being promoted and transferred at his job at the bank. Jesse still hasn't read George's book. In 2030, Keenan became the first man to accidentally go to the moon. He returned mostly unharmed, but was never quite the same after that. Andy Wing has been missing for years. I got a newly engineered penis since I lost mine in a vasectomy. Shay lived out the rest of his years in Key West as a full-time Ernest Hemingway impersonator. He died at the peak of his fame due to his part in planning and executing the Great Jell-O accident of 2037. Kendra never let David back into her house, because of the bathtub thing. George died shortly before saving up enough money for a down payment on a house. Zach Allred went on to become a professional strip GoldenEye player. He never even had to remove a shoe. David Tate no longer competes in 5K races due to his medical condition he developed in the Great Jell-O accident. Dan started a successful movie production. The film Pacific Rim scored a 0% rating. Dakota finally got his third nipple removed, allowing him to finally feel comfortable at the swimming pool. Lexi and Emily recorded and released their song, Thanksgiving Food, which became a surprise hit. The song made millions, which they didn't share with anyone in the crew. Over 4,000 people died in the Great Jell-O accident of 2037. Jell-O is now illegal in the United States of America. Matt still enjoys watching commercials and is still waiting for the Cowboys to not disappoint him in the playoffs. Kelly now owns Disneyland. Her acquisition of Disney World is still pending. Much to his chagrin, Jordan still works at Workman Success System for his boss, Ryan Workman. Dakota became the mayor of Provo City after running, quote, just as a joke.